Hi there and welcome to the Daily Arsenal News Show. Let's dive into today's top stories. Arsenal player is a doubt for Brentford having his fitness assessed. Arsenal face Brentford this weekend in what should be a straightforward win for the Gunners. However, Mikel Arteta's side may be heading into this game with a slightly depleted squad. Indeed, both Bukayo Saka and Gabriel Martinelli went off early against Sheffield United earlier this week, and while Saka is said to be fit and ready to go for the Brentford game, Martinelli is a bit of a doubt. According to a report from ESPN, Martinelli's fitness is said to be assessed ahead of the weekend after he suffered a cut on his foot. The world-class Brazilian shouldn't be out for too long if he hasn't just cut his foot, but he could well be in danger of missing this weekend's game against Brentford. To be honest, Martinelli missing this game wouldn't be the end of the world. Arsenal have plenty of left-wing options such as Leandro Trossard, Emil Smith-Rowe, and even Gabriel Jesus, while Martinelli could probably do with a rest in all honesty. Of course, ideally, Arsenal would have a fully fit squad ready to face Brentford, but if there was any player that could miss this game and Arsenal wouldn't suffer too much, it may be Martinelli. Fingers crossed, the Brazilian is fit enough to start next week's Champions League game against Porto, as Arsenal will need all the firepower they can to overcome the first leg 1-0 deficit against the Portuguese Giants. Whether or not Martinelli is fit for this weekend remains to be seen, but with such a minor injury, he shouldn't be out of action for too long. Pundit says Arsenal have a player who is so clever on the pitch. Kai Havertz has really improved for Arsenal recently. The German's levels have really gone up, and that was more evident than ever on Monday against Sheffield United. Havertz grabbed a goal and played a key role against the Blades as Arsenal dominated at Bramall Lane. Speaking on the Handbrake of podcast, Adrian Clark has been full of praise for Havertz's showing during that game, claiming that the German was superb against Sheffield United and that he is so clever with his movement. Clark shared his verdict on the 24-year-old. He was superb, wasn't he? It was an interesting selection. I expected him to be back in midfield. For him to lead the line again was interesting. The goals, he was involved. That's what he is great at. His magic in terms of his movement. He makes so many runs and they are really good runs, most of them. He is a class player, very intelligent, and with every passing week, I'm enjoying watching him more and more. Kai Havertz is really improving at Arsenal and he is winning a lot of people around. His slow start isn't easy to just dismiss, it must be said, but his recent form has shown that he is making progress and he is starting to gel in this team. As Clark says, his movement is now starting to look clever rather than clumsy, and if he can continue playing in this way, he will be a valuable asset to Arsenal as we head into the business end of the season and the title race. There is always going to be debate around Havertz due to his huge transfer fee and how poor he was to begin with, but it must be said, even by his biggest critics, he has improved a lot recently. Chris Sutton says £30 million Arsenal player really has been outstanding this season. Chris Sutton has shared what he has made of the form of David Raya for Arsenal this season, as he suggested that Mikel Arteta may regret what he previously said about having two top-class goalkeepers at Arsenal. David Raya has done brilliantly over the last few months. There was a lot of surprise when the Gunners decided to bring the Spaniard in on loan with an option to buy, which could see him signed for around £30 million. Aaron Ramsdale had been superb for Arsenal and he was rewarded with a new long-term contract towards the end of last season. So it was a shock to see him lose his place to Raya early on in the campaign. Mikel Arteta gave a strong indication that he would rotate his goalkeepers fairly regularly, but since Raya's league debut for Arsenal, Ramsdale has only featured in one top-flight game, and that was the game against Brentford Raya was ineligible for. Arsenal face the Bees again this weekend, so Ramsdale is set to start, but speaking on its all kicking off, Chris Sutton suggested that there is no longer any discussion over who the number one is. He said, I understand the focus from the outside looking in, but the Ramsdale Raya debate is done now, and I have had my own view. I thought Ramsdale was really harshly treated, but essentially, Mikel Arteta has stuck with Raya, and I have got to say Raya's been outstanding for Arsenal. I think that maybe he would regret Mikel Arteta, his choice of words when talking about the rotation. I think that most people then assumed it would be a couple of games for each or whatever, but what is it judged on? Mikel Arteta? He is judged on winning games. He needs his Arsenal team to win a trophy. They were competitive last season, really competitive, and it's about making that next step, and he has felt that Raya is the number one goalkeeper, then, of course, he has to pick him. Agent hints £12 million Arsenal player would consider reuniting with his old manager this summer. Jorginho could actually leave Arsenal to reunite with Mauricio Sarri at Lazio this summer. That is what has been suggested by the Italian's agent, Joao Santos. So what is the latest on Jorginho at Arsenal? Let's take a look. Well, the Arsenal number 20 sees his contract expire this summer. Santos, when speaking to Tutto Mercato Web, revealed that the priority for Jorginho is to renew his deal at the Emirates Stadium. Although a return to Italy was not ruled out, the 32-year-old's agent said, if we have to play a game, I would see it better at Lazio for the presence of Sarri, who knows his characteristics very well, but also at Juventus, where there is a great sporting director like Guintoli, with whom he lived many good years at Napoli. We will evaluate the proposal that comes to the table, and we will decide for the best. Obviously, the priority is the renewal with Arsenal because he gets along very well with everyone, but with his contract expiring, we hope the team that wants what is best for him arrives. Jorginho, who recently received the praise from Ian Wright, has been a key player under Mikel Arteta this season, making 26 appearances in all competition. Lazio or Juventus are not the only potential destinations for Jorginho this summer if he does not renew his contract at Arsenal. A story by Sport in Spain states that Barcelona are keen to sign the Italy international this summer. The Spanish news outlet believes Jorginho would love to join Barcelona, having previously wanted to sign for the Spanish Giants before Chelsea outbid the Blaugrana back in 2018. Clearly, the £12 million man has a number of options on the table this summer as he prepares for what could be his last significant transfer. Journalist says a special Arsenal player who signed a new contract in 2023 will leave now. Arsenal have work to do in the summer transfer window, and while there are new signings to be made, there are also a few players who probably need to leave. The likes of Mohamed El-Nini and Cedric Soares appear to have no future at Arsenal, while the likes of Edin Kataya and Emil Smith-Rowe have a bit of an uncertain future, it has to be said. Reiss Nelsons is another player who is struggling for minutes at the Emirates at the moment, and there are questions to be asked about his future too. Speaking on KS1 TV, Steve Kay has been discussing Nelson's future, and he's led to believe that the Arsenal winger's career at the Emirates is over at this point. Kay shared what he knows about the special winger. He said, that's one of the reasons why I think Eddie is gone. Reiss Nelsons is another one who I think is done with. I think Smith Rowe will go, and there will be a lot of outgoings. I was more sure of that when they said they are looking to the future, looking at youth players. If there was any doubt that the players I mentioned will stay, I was like, nah, you're gone, time's up. It's a massive shame that Nelson's career at Arsenal has gone in this way. The attacker has showed so many signs of becoming a star at the Emirates, but unfortunately, he's never quite managed to reach that next level. After signing a new contract last summer, it looked as though Nelson could be set for a bit of a breakthrough season at Arsenal, but unfortunately, he hasn't quite been given the opportunities he'd probably hoped for this season. Fingers crossed Nelson can get the right move and get his career back on track elsewhere and develop into the star he was tipped to become all those years. Chelsea eyeing £43 million Arsenal and the Spurs target. Chelsea have reportedly joined the likes of Tottenham Hotspur and Arsenal in the race for Spain winger Nico Williams. According to the Telegraph, Mauricio Pochettino's Blues have been impressed by Williams' progress at Athletic Bilbao and now have him on their radar. Chelsea are likely to have to contend with the Spurs and the Gunners in the summer, with recent reports linking the North Londoners to Williams too. The Mirror reported in February that Arsenal have been sending their scouts to make checks on the 21-year-old attacking ace. In the same month, Sportsland's journalist Dean Jones suggested that Tottenham are keen on Williams, who is flying for Athletic. Also, a striker will apparently be Chelsea's priority, with Victor Osimhen and Benjamin Sesko among their top targets. Williams has also caught their eye. The report claims the likes of Chelsea, Tottenham and Arsenal could expect to pay £43 million for the Athletic man, his purported release clause. In terms of wages, Williams apparently earns £100,000 a week after tax in Spain. This is something the Blues, the Gunners and Spurs would have to at least match. Williams would be a good shoot for Chelsea, Arsenal and Tottenham alike. He is a talented and rapid attacking talent who looks like he has a bright future in the game. At just 21 years of age, he has already made over 100 athletic appearances. He has registered 36 goal contributions and has won 11 caps for Spain, netting twice. Williams has been labelled an incredible athlete, and there has been a suggestion that he is even faster than Kylian Mbappe. And even though the player penned a new contract just last year, his release clause is believed to have stayed the same. This would be a significant green light for the London trio. Let's see what happens in the coming months. It could be an exciting transfer race on the cards for one of Spain's top talents. Journalist confirms Arsenal interest in attacker with 43 goal contributions. Arsenal are interested in improving their attacking options at the end of the season, and they have identified Viktor Gyökeres as a potential target. According to Swedish outlet Football Direct, who have shared information from a journalist Gianluca Di Marzio, Arsenal want to sign the 25-year-old striker, and he is likely to cost a premium. Di Marzio believes that Chelsea and Arsenal are the only clubs who can afford to sign the Sporting Lisbon striker, and it remains to be seen how the situation develops. Only the Premier League clubs can afford him, said Di Marzio. He continued, Chelsea and Arsenal can afford him, and Arsenal want him because they need a striker. Gyökeres has been in outstanding form this season, scoring 32 goals across all competitions. He has picked up 11 assists along the way as well. The striker has a €100 million release clause in his contract, and any club hoping to sign him will have to shell out a premium. It will be interesting to see if Chelsea and Arsenal are prepared to pay that kind of money for him. The opportunity to move to the Premier League will be a tempting proposition for the 25-year-old striker, and he might look to test himself at a high level. Arsenal and Chelsea are some of the biggest clubs in the world, and they could provide him with the platform to compete for major trophies. However, the massive release clause could complicate any potential move. It remains to be seen whether Sporting are willing to be more reasonable with their demands for the player. Arsenal need to bring in an upgrade on Gabriel Jesus, and Gyökeres certainly fits the profile. The Brazilian international striker has not been able to score goals consistently, and signing the 25-year-old as his alternative would be a wise decision. As we wrap up today's Arsenal news, remember to stay tuned for daily updates right here on the channel. Don't miss out on the latest updates, so make sure to hit that subscribe button and give us a like if you found this information valuable. Your support means the world to us. Thanks for watching, and until next time, take care.